Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. We have Alexandra Eala versus Cristina Bucsa for the second round of the US Open 2025 tournament. Cannot wait to get into this one because it's an interesting matchup. Alexandra Eala has just come through in very thrilling fashion against Clara Towson in 3 sets. Came back from 5-1 down in the final set to win 7-6, 13-11 in that tiebreaker. And for Bucsa, she had a very convincing performance against American Claire Liu, won 6-2, 6-1, dropping just the 3 games. So 2 very different matches for both players. Of course, Eala played a seeded and very good player in Clara Towson, a player who's been in really good form this year. Claire Liu is a different caliber of player and has not obviously had the season and doesn't have the ranking of Clara Towson. So you have to take the scorelines with a bit of a pinch of salt. They played once before. The head-to-head is 1-0 in favour of Eala. We're going to get into that in a second. Before we do though, of course, remember to that like button. Do subscribe if you're new and do leave a rating or review if you're listening on a podcast platform. So the one time they played was in Grenoble in France, a W25 if I'm not mistaken. And Eala won 2-6, 6-3, 7-6, 10-8 in the final set tiebreaker. So a really tight match there. The styles that both players have there are some similarities, but also some differences. Bucsa is a very solid player. If you watch her play, she's got a very solid backhand, forehand, can attack decently on the front foot, can defend pretty well, moves pretty well, decent hands of the net. The serve, again, is solid, return is solid, but she doesn't have really any big weapons, I would say. I think that's fair to say. I wouldn't say that she has the weapons of, say, a Clara Towson or a Rebecca or a Sabalenka. You know, she doesn't have, and forget about weapons, plural, but I don't think she has even that singular weapon. I think she's got a very all-round game, and she's actually quite similar to, on the men's tour, someone like a Davidovich Fokina, who, in fairness to him, has played with more quote-unquote weapons in the last couple of months, but relatively speaking, you'd say he's been an all-round player who can do everything pretty well, but nothing is a standout. And I feel like the same can be said for Bucsa. Nothing wrong with that. She's a very steady and very fierce competitor, and she will definitely be there with Eala the whole way. She's got good shot tolerance as well. She's a solid player. For Eala, this is an interesting matchup because she won't have as much pace to use like she did against Clara Towson, where she was able to redirect a lot and soak up that pace. She's a very good pace absorber and redirect, utilizing the speed of ball. With Bucsa, she doesn't hit the ball as big, so she's going to have to be a little bit more creative. Eala, I think her lefty forehand into the backhand of Bucsa is going to be a bit of an issue for the Spaniard, and Eala needs to be quite aggressive off the ground. I think she needs to be the aggressor in this match, and if she's not, then Bucsa will try and dictate, and she might try and stretch out the points, and I'm not necessarily sure that is Eala's best scenario in this matchup. I think she can play the longer points well, she can defend well. I think variety is going to be quite important here because the shot tolerance that Bucsa has is pretty good. So if Eala plays at one pace, I think Bucsa will really enjoy that. And I don't think she will make many errors. I think Eala needs to force the errors with good variety, I think, angles and taking that ball earlier she likes to do. I think she will do that. She'll be aggressive on the return. That'll put pressure on the Bucsa serve. And for Bucsa, she's not going to be as aggressive on those returns like a Towson, like a Rebecca or a Sabalenka, people or players who are very, very keen to step in, Swiatek as well, to step in, especially off the second serve. And that Eala lefty slice serve is going to be money on the ad side if she's able to get it in and cause damage. Against Towson, in terms of serving, Eala, as to be expected, made a fair few first serve, 68%, but only won 59% behind the first serve and then 52% behind the second serve. So Towson being very aggressive off that return. For Bucsa, she had better stats, as you can imagine, because of the opponent as well. First serve was 63% in, so pretty good. 76% of first serve points won and 64% of second serve points won. Bucsa really utilizing that forehand as well, trying to dictate proceedings in that match. Should try and do the same against Eala, especially with the in to out forehand or forehand line, to try and get Eala stretching on that forehand wing. We know that a lot of people talk about hitting the in to out forehand out of the ad corner to stretch the lefty on their forehand, because they tend to camp almost in there in the juice corner to try and hit as many forehands as possible. So if you can get them on the run, feeling awkward and having to hit that forehand low, it's going to be an awkward shot, and more likely than not, you're going to be on the front foot and potentially win that point. Easier said than done, of course. A lot of people used to try and utilize that tactic against Rafael Nadal. And obviously you have to be very selective about when you go into that corner, and it has to be executed to perfection against someone like Rafael Nadal. Against Eala, of course, it doesn't need to be executed to as much perfection as it would against Nadal. But in saying that, Eala is a very good mover, and she utilizes the slice well. So if she's on the stretch on the forehand, she might use that squash-like forehand slice to get her out of trouble as well. She's fired up. I think the support she has everywhere she goes is crazy. The Filipinos really come out in full force, and that showed in the Clara Towson match, and she brought herself back from the brink, really, 5-1. It's just crazy comeback. She'll have a lot of confidence coming into this, and she said so herself that she wants more moments like that first round. So she'll be very keen to try and get the win here and move on. It's going to be a tough one though. It's not going to be easy. On paper, it's easier than Clara Towson, but Bucsa, as I said, doesn't really give you as much to work with. So Eala's going to have to be a bit more creative, I think. Interestingly as well, both players have a career highest ranking of 56. So just interesting little stat there. And both the same height at 5'9". In terms of predictions, so I'm going to go with Alexandra Eala in straight sets, actually. I think she's going to get it done in straight sets. I think she's a special player, I think. And not just because of the following, but there's just something a little bit about her. I'm not saying that she's going to win a slam or even multiple slams. I'm just saying that I think there is something a little bit special about her. Whereas, you know, for Bucsa, 27 years of age, very solid career. If Eala's playing well, I think she gets the win. I think Bucsa is going to be steady though. So if Eala is off the pace, Bucsa will take over and take advantage. Let me know in the comment section below who you think is going to win and why. Thanks very much, guys. Stay safe and well, and we'll see you on the next video.